Hello everyone, how are you all? So today we will have the remaining portion of the halogens. That is, today we will study two compounds. One is chlorine and second is hydrogen chloride. And the two compounds are very important. Okay, so please listen carefully and make your notes. First we will start with chlorine. You all know, you are all familiar with chlorine in your lab, isn't it? We are doing a test for chlorine, a pungent odor smell for chlorine, and confirmatory test also we are doing with AgCl, isn't it? So chlorine, you can name it as, the chlorine was discovered by a scientist called Scheele in 1774. Now we will see the preparation of chlorine. Okay, so normally in the lab it is prepared by means of MnO4 plus hydrogen chloride. It is by treating MnO4, manganese, I think MnO2 plus HCl will give you MnCl2 plus Cl2 plus water. This is a small scale preparation of chlorine. And this preparation was done by Davy, a scientist called Davy in 1810. Okay, this is a small scale preparation, that is MnO2, manganese dioxide, on treatment with HCl will give you MnCl2 plus chlorine plus water. And water here is a byproduct. Okay, now here, so you will get the chlorine. See, chlorine is formed in this reaction. Okay, now you have to balance it. You have to balance it. So 4, I think, just balance it. Okay, now the second method of preparation is, instead of this HCl, we can have, see, any salt plus sulfuric acid. In the last class or last session in sulfuric acid, we talked about sulfuric acid is having, because of its low volatility, it is able to prepare high volatile acids when it is filled with salt, isn't it? So instead of HCl, you can also use any salt plus sulfuric acid, which will give in effect to what? HCl plus NaHSO4. So instead of this, the same reaction you can write MnO2 plus NaCl and H2SO4. Instead of this HCl, you are taking this, and you will get again what? MnCl2 plus chlorine plus water plus this salt also. So 4 products are you are getting sodium bisulfate. It's very easy. Once you know this is a reaction you are studying in 10th standard. That is the oxidation reduction reaction, redox reaction, which is the oxidation product and which is the reduction product, and here the water is taken as a byproduct. So if you know this reaction, you can very well write this equation also as, instead of HCl, the low volatility property of H2SO4 is using here. That is H2SO4 plus any salt. It will give a high volatile liquid. I talked about there in why this HCl is used in flame test instead of H2SO4, isn't it? So this reaction also can be used to make what? Used to make, or in the manufacture, small scale manufacture of chlorine. Okay. Then instead of KMnO4, you can even use, MnO2, you can even use KMnO4. And let me tell you, you have to balance all these equations and get ready in the equation diagram. Okay, I'm just writing it, that's all, not getting balanced. Okay. So KMnO4 plus HCl, this reaction is also, you can get what? Chlorine, isn't it? Chlorine plus MnCl2 plus KCl plus H2O. So once you know these three reactions, these are the small scale preparation of chlorine. Okay, this you know, that is MnO2 plus HCl giving MnCl2 plus chlorine plus water. Instead of this HCl, you have to write NaCl plus H2SO4. You will get this chlorine is again you are getting, and instead of MnO2, you can again treat KMnO4, potassium permanganate, with hydrochloric acid. So that also, what you will get chlorine, you will get in small scale preparation. Okay, lab preparation also you can get. Now, industrial preparation. When you talk about industrial preparation of chlorine, a process, a named reaction is there, which is called as Deacon's. How we pronounce it? Deacon's or Deacon's process. Deacon's process for the manufacture of chlorine, industrially, or a large scale process how you manufacture chlorine. That is, due to the catalytic oxidation. Catalytic means using a catalyst. The catalytic oxidation of HCl. See, HCl on oxidation using a catalyst CuCl2, copper chloride, and at the temperature is important. The temperature is 723 Kelvin. See, when hydrochloric acid, hydrogen chloride gas is catalytically oxidized at 723 Kelvin, the catalyst used is CuCl2, you will get chlorine plus water, isn't it? Chlorine plus water. So this is called as Deacon's process. So Deacon's process means in a large scale manufacturing process. Okay. Now how will you prepare chlorine in a large scale? You can have this Deacon's process or Deacon's process. But how, when HCl gas is catalytically oxidized, that is the catalyst used is copper chloride and the temperature is 723 Kelvin. This you have to study well, because only at this temperature it will oxidize to chlorine. Okay, chlorine. Now second industrial preparation, you know what? The brine solution. When brine solution is when electrolysis is done in brine solution, what is brine solution? Aqueous NaCl solution, isn't it? Aqueous, when electricity is passed through NaCl solution, which is called as brine solution, electrolysis happens and what you get? Chlorine at anode plus hydrogen at cathode and NaOH, isn't it? So that is also an industrial method for the preparation of chlorine. So 2 industrial methods and 3 small scale method for the preparation of chlorine. Okay. So just study this. Sometimes it will ask us a named process. Now write Deacon's process for the manufacture of chlorine. That is catalytic oxidation of hydrogen chloride using catalyst CuCl2 and a temperature 723 Kelvin. Okay. Now then electrolysis of brine solution, you will get chlorine, hydrogen and NaOH. Okay. So this is about the preparation. Now coming to the property, you know, chlorine. What about chlorine? Chlorine is a gas having a pungent smell, isn't it? It's a pungent smell. It has got a pungent odor, and then it has got a suffocating odor, isn't it? When you do in the lab also, if the chlorine gas is getting to your nose, you will get some nausea. Okay, so you have to get very you have to get it very. Chlorine is very difficult to inhale. Okay. Now the other property is chlorine is an yellowish gas, isn't it? Now it can very well soluble in water, forming an yellow liquid. So it is very well soluble in water, forming an yellow liquid. Okay. Then talking about, so these are physical properties. It's a pungent, suffocating odor. It's a pungent smell. Then it is soluble in water. Then highly soluble in water, it forms an yellowish liquid, etc. Now coming to the chemical properties of chlorine. There are some reactions which you have to study, very important reactions which you have to study in chlorine. Okay. Now the first reaction is the chlorine react with both metals as well as non-metals. That is very easy. So chlorine react with both metals as well as non-metals. For example, metal like aluminium plus chlorine, what it will give? Aluminium chloride, AlCl3. Just balance it. If it is 2, then 6, so 3, then 2. So just balance it, that's all. So aluminium plus chlorine will give you aluminium chloride. For example, sodium, another metal, plus chlorine will give you sodium chloride, isn't it? Sodium chloride, so balance it. That is 2 and 2. Okay. So these are metals, examples of metals. Then coming to non-metals, for example, P4 plus chlorine will give you PCl5. Okay, PCl5 or PCl3. Okay, so if it is 4, now 4 3s are 12, 6 chlorine. So phosphorus from treatment with chlorine you will get PCl5. Another compound is PCl5 and PCl3. Both compounds are there. Okay. Then non-metals. Coming to non-metals, one more non-metals, that is sulfur plus again chlorine will give you S2Cl2. That is sulfur monochloride. So this is 4. That 4 2s are 8. Then chlorine 4 2s are 8. That is 4. So this is metal, the reaction. So chlorine reacts with both metals as well as non-metals to form the corresponding compounds. Okay, so that is the first reaction with the metals. Okay, clear? Second is, the chlorine has got a very great affinity for reaction with hydrogen. See, the chlorine has got a great affinity for the reaction with hydrogen. For example, if hydrogen is reacted with chlorine, it is very well react to form HCl. See, HCl gas. Hydrogen plus chlorine will give you HCl. Okay, and also see, H2S plus chlorine will give you HCl plus sulfur. See, a very great affinity for hydrogen. Okay, and any hydrocarbon for that matter, that also reacts with chlorine to form the corresponding hydrochloride plus carbon. For example, if it is C10H16 plus chlorine will give you HCl plus carbon. See, just you balance it. It's up to you. Balance it. So, in all these cases, it shows that the chlorine has got a great affinity for hydrogen. So, just study one or two examples. That is easier for you. This is very easy. No, we know that hydrogen plus chlorine will give you hydrogen chloride. So, that is a second reaction. What was the first reaction? The reaction with metals as well as non-metals to form the corresponding chlorides. Second is, it has got a great affinity for hydrogen. That means what? Affinity means it reacts very well with hydrogen to form the corresponding hydrochlorides, isn't it? Now, coming to the third one is, it's very important. It reacts with ammonia. The third reaction is with ammonia. It's also a very important reaction. That is, the third reaction is with ammonia. See, two types of reactions are there for ammonia. One is, if ammonia is in excess, when you treat chlorine and ammonia, if the ammonia is in excess, what will happen? The product is ammonium chloride plus nitrogen. See, when chlorine is treated with ammonia, and if ammonia is in excess means in higher quantity, then you will get the product as ammonium chloride and nitrogen. Now, if the same reaction where chlorine is in excess, see how it happens, how the products differs. When the same ammonia and chlorine are reacted, when chlorine is in excess, you will get another product, that is NCl3. That is nitrogen trichloride plus HCl. See, and this nitrogen trichloride is an explosive. It's a highly explosive material or a substance. Highly explosive material. So, there are two types of reactions in ammonia. That is, when ammonia is in excess, what you will get? You will have ammonium chloride and nitrogen. Then, if chlorine is in excess, you will get NCl3, nitrogen trichloride, which is a highly explosive material along with HCl. So, you have to study this, very important. Okay, what will happen if sometimes a question asks, what is the reaction between ammonia and chlorine if chlorine is in excess? Then you have to write NCl3, or they can ask, write a preparation for NCl3, that is nitrogen trichloride. So, both you have to study properly. And the last reaction, so first reaction was metals, non-metals, second is with hydrogen, great affinity for hydrogen, and third is ammonia. And the last reaction for chlorine to study is, the last reaction is the reaction with, this is hydrogen, then ammonia, then reaction with NaOH, that is alkali. See, this is also very important. If in the first case, if you use cold and dilute alkali, see, when NaOH is reacted with chlorine, if the alkali is cold and dilute, you see, the product is different. That is, the product you will get is NaCl plus NaCl, that is sodium chloride, plus NaOCl, sodium hypochloride, plus H2O. See, when NaOH is cold and dilute, When it reacts with chlorine, you will get NaCl, the corresponding chloride, plus hypochlorite plus water. Correct? Now, if the same alkali is used with hot and concentrated, the second reaction is when NaOH is used, which is hot and concentrated. When it reacts with chlorine, see the product, you will get same NaCl plus NaClO3 plus water. This is sodium chlorate. See? And this is sodium hypochlorite. See, the reaction differs when the conditions are different. When the NaOH is cold and dilute, when the alkali is cold and dilute, then you will get the hypochlorite of that. And if it is hot and concentrated, you will get the sodium chlorate. Correct? So this is again an important equation. Important reaction. So when ammonia also, there are two types of reactions. When ammonia is in excess, you will get ammonium chloride. When chlorine is in excess, you will have NCl3, nitrogen trichloride, which is an explosive. Alkali, when it is cold and diluted, you will get hypochlorous. When it is hot and concentrated, you will get sodium chlorate, NClO3. This is NaOCl. Understood? Now, you have heard of bleaching powder, isn't it? Bleaching powder. You know how the bleaching powder is prepared? In the small classes, your preparation was like when dry slate cut lime is treated with chlorine, you will get calcium oxychloride, which you name it as what? Name it as bleaching powder. But the actual composition of bleaching powder is something else. Just for your smaller classes, we will simply say it as a calcium oxychloride. But actually the composition of bleaching powder is different. That means again the same thing, that is calcium oxychloride on treatment with chlorine, then the bleaching powder formula is different. See, if it is, I will just balance it, you will get calcium oxychloride twice. See, dot, listen, calcium chloride is the here you will call it plus H2O. You will call it as bleaching powder. But this is the formula. But if you ask the composition of bleaching powder, it can be written as calcium oxychloride twice dot calcium hydroxide dot calcium chloride dot 2H2O. See, this is the correct composition of what? Bleaching powder. That means calcium oxychloride, the OCl2 twice dot, it's a mixed compound. That calcium hydroxide dot calcium chloride dot, or what is the water of crystallization? The two water molecules of crystallization is there. So this is the chemical composition of bleaching powder. Okay, so just note it down. That is calcium, here what is it? Calcium oxychloride plus calcium chloride plus water. This is you are getting, but the composition for this is calcium oxychloride dot calcium hydroxide dot calcium chloride dot 2H2O. So this is how you prepare bleaching powder. Correct. So this is again what? The reaction of chlorine. So this is about the fifth reaction, that is metals and non-metals, then hydrogen, then ammonia, then alkali, and this is the fifth one with the calcium hydroxide to form what? Bleaching powder. Isn't it? Bleaching powder. Now you have to study the composition. Sometimes in boards you may be asked, write the composition of bleaching powder. Okay. So if the preparation is asked, the same preparation, only this thing is calcium chloride is also included, and this twice. Calcium oxychloride is twice plus calcium, not dot, plus calcium chloride plus water, and the composition is this. Correct. Then the next reaction is, you know, when chlorine is made to react with a saturated compound. Listen, chlorine on reaction with the saturated compound, for example methane. Methane is a saturated compound. Okay, presence of sunlight or nu, okay, sunlight or nu, what will happen? Substitution reaction takes place, isn't it? CH3Cl, and it goes on continuing to form what? CCl4. You know that, right? First it will form CH3Cl, again chlorine plus CH3Cl will give you CH2Cl2, okay, again plus HCl, byproduct is HCl, again this Cl2 plus CH2Cl2 giving chloroform CHCl3 plus HCl, correct? And the last is chlorine plus CHCl3 giving CCl4, isn't it? So according to the free radical mechanism, it will stop here, which means that substitution takes place. So for saturated compounds, the reaction with chlorine follows a substitution reaction, correct? Now what about for an unsaturated compound? For an unsaturated compound, addition reaction takes place, isn't it? For an unsaturated compound, addition reaction takes place. For example, if for a simple example, if I say CH2 double bond CH2 plus chlorine at room temperature, you can have CH2Cl single bond CH2ClC. The bond is broken and the chlorine is added to it, which is called as an addition reaction. So, for an unsaturated compound, addition reaction, this is at room temperature, no UV something is there, just room temperature. So, for an unsaturated compound, addition reaction takes place for chlorine, and for saturated compound, substitution reaction takes place. So, that is the difference between this. Okay. Understood? Next we pass on to again another property of chlorine, which is a very important property. That is, you know, chlorine water. When chlorine is dissolved, we know it is highly soluble in water. When this chlorine water is kept for some time, it loses its yellow color. The chlorine water is having a greenish yellow color, which means chlorine gas is greenish yellow. When it dissolves in water, it is having an yellowish color. But after it kept for some time, this yellowish color disappears and it forms colorless. It's a colorless liquid is formed. Why? Because, see, chlorine reacts with water to form two types of acids. One is HCl plus other is HOCl, hypohalous acid, hypochlorous acid. Okay, this is hydrochloric acid, hypohalic and hypochlorous. Okay, so then what happens? This HOCl, you know this HOCl will again react to form HCl plus O. See? Got it? First, it reacts with water to form two types of compounds, like one is HCl and other is HOCl. This is highly unstable in nature. So what happens? HOCl will come back to HCl again plus this oxygen in bracket. And what is that oxygen in bracket? It is called as nascent oxygen. What is it? Nascent oxygen. This nascent oxygen is very reactive because it is highly unstable in nature. The nascent oxygen is highly unstable in nature. And this nascent oxygen accounts for the bleaching property. The chlorine is a bleaching agent as well as the oxidizing property. See? So, what is responsible for these two properties of chlorine? Bleaching property as well as oxidizing property. These two properties are mainly accounted by the nascent oxygen. Now, how you will get nascent oxygen? Moist, when more, see, in sulfur dioxide also we have studied moist sulfur dioxide is a very good reducing agent. It is used for bleaching, isn't it? In the same way, this chlorine is also a very good reverse oxidizing agent. Why? Because it is due to the formation of nascent oxygen. So, bleaching property as well as the oxidizing property, this nascent oxygen is responsible for that. Okay. So, First we will see what is the oxidizing property. Okay, just listen carefully how you will give a reaction for the oxidizing property of chlorine. It oxidizes mostly this ferrous sulfate, that is FeSO4, to oxidizes means Fe ferric, isn't it? Ferric oxide. Sorry, it oxidizes ferrous sulfate to ferric sulfate. Isn't it? Oxidizes means greater in oxidation number. So that is ferrous sulfate plus chlorine plus, here it is in acidic medium. That is the difference. Aqueous medium. Instead of water, in this reaction in ferrous sulfate, you will have the aqueous solution of H2SO4 because acidic medium is needed for this reaction. That is why H2SO4 plus water, that is aqueous you are writing. So in presence of aqueous H2SO4, the ferrous sulfate will form FeSO4 thrice, which means Fe2SO4 thrice. Am I right? SO4 twice and Fe thrice. See, Fe2SO4 thrice is plus HCl, isn't it? Plus HCl. So it oxidizes ferrous to ferric. Again, if you want one more reaction, it oxidizes Na2SO3. What is Na2SO3? Sodium sulfide, not sulfate. Sulfate is Na2SO4. This is sodium sulfide plus chlorine plus water. Here again water is there. No need of acid. You will get sulfide is oxidized to sulfate. So Na2SO4 plus HCl. See? Again, it oxidizes iodine, isn't it? Or you can say it oxidizes sulfur dioxide to sulfuric acid, that is H2SO4 plus HCl. Or it again oxidizes iodine to plus water, right? Plus water will give you iodic acid, HiO3 plus HCl. See, all these are the examples of oxidizing property. And what is responsible for the oxidizing property? When this chlorine and water combine together, you know, it will form two types, HOCl and HCl, out of which the HOCl will again form HCl and nascent oxygen, and this nascent oxygen is responsible for the oxidation. Got it? Clearly you understood how oxidation takes place? Yes. So next is bleaching property. The same nascent oxygen is giving the bleaching property. You know, if we have some coloring substance in our dresses and all, you give it to laundry for bleaching, for dry wash. There they will use this bleaching, I mean the chlorine, the bleaching action of chlorine. So you can say the colored matter, the vegetable matter or the organic matter, okay, plus this nascent oxygen will bring you colorless matter. See, this is how the pigmentation which is in your dresses and all, if you give for laundry, they will have that bleaching action of chlorine. They will put bleaching powder into it and they will make the colored thing into colorless. So that what is mainly happening? The reaction with the nascent oxygen. Since the chlorine plus water can, see, chlorine plus water can, in one step if I write, this is HCl plus oxygen. I can write like this in one step. So this oxygen, nascent oxygen, is responsible for the bleaching action as well as the oxidizing property. Bleaching action, if some question is asked, you can say like this: colored matter, whether it is organic or the otherwise in nature, then on reaction with this nascent oxygen will give you colorless matter. So you can write this as a bleaching. And very important thing, the bleaching action of chlorine is permanent. Once it is bleached, if when you want to remove a red color from a white cloth, if you put the bleaching action of chlorine, it will be removed completely. It won't come again. Once it is done, it is done. That is why it is called as a permanent bleaching. The chlorine, if you look for chlorine we use for permanent bleaching. But the main difference between the bleaching action of chlorine and sulfur dioxide is, sulfur dioxide is only permanent bleaching. It is used as a temporary bleaching. The color may come back. But the permanent bleaching is mainly due to the chlorine, the nascent oxygen from the chlorine and water. So this is the difference between the bleaching action of sulfur dioxide and chlorine. Chlorine oxidizing property is used, whereas sulfur, second difference. Chlorine oxidizing property is used, whereas sulfur dioxide the reducing property is used. So these are the two main differences between the bleaching action of sulfur dioxide and chlorine. So just keep in mind. Okay, have notes on that. The two important points which differs from the bleaching. So both are bleaching agent. Now what are the differences if they ask? You can write. One is a permanent bleaching, chlorine. Sulfur dioxide is a temporary bleaching. Then sulfur dioxide reducing properties is making use of in chlorine oxidizing property. So you can there will two main difference. Okay. Now this is about what? This is about the bleaching action of chlorine. Now you know that how the bleaching action goes. And then that's all. And then you should have the uses of chlorine. Okay. You know what are the uses. From this you can have what are the uses. It is used as a bleaching. Isn't it? Bleaching for bleaching action. The first use bleaching action for wool. Isn't it? Or textile as a whole. Then drinking water. In pools, swimming pools and all we use chlorine. Isn't it? Drinking water, etc. Then another use is, a very important use is in the manufacture of some of the poisonous gases. See, it is important. Poisonous gases, chlorine is used. Now, the first poisonous gas you have to study is phosgene. Phosgene. Phosgene is nothing but COCl2. So chlorine is used in the preparation of poisonous gases such as phosgene. Second is tear gas. You know, right? Tear gas. Tear gas. That is CCl3NO2. See, the tear gas is CCl3NO2. And third is mustard gas. Why I am writing this is, sometimes the question can be asked. Write the formula for a mustard gas, or write the formula for tear gas or phosgene. Okay. So phosgene you will study in organic, don't worry. The mustard gas, the formula is, see, sulfur is there and CH2, CH2Cl. Again in this side also CH2, CH2Cl. See, this is the formula for mustard. In either side of the sulfur, for example, sulfur dioxide, you know, right? Instead of this 2 oxygen, in two sides, this is there, CH2, CH2Cl. Just remember like that. Okay, so these are all poisonous gases like tear gas, phosgene and mustard gas. Okay. Then you can say it is a lab reagent, then it is used in the manufacture of DDT, you know, right? DDT. Then dyes. DDT, dyes, organic compounds like solvents, CCl4, carbon tetrachloride, chloroform, isn't it? Likewise, so many manufacturing things are there for chlorine. So just study one or two. The best, easier is for bleaching action, for drinking water, for the oxidizing property, isn't it? It's a lab reagent. So many things you have to write. Frions. Okay, so all this chlorine is used in the manufacture of poisonous gases. Okay, so that's all about chlorine. It's very, very, very important topic, that is chlorine. Okay, hope you understood. Now, one more compound we have to study in this is, hydrogen chloride. That is very, very, very easy. Okay, what is it? Hydrogen chloride. That is HCl gas. Okay. Now, you all know hydrogen chloride. You are familiar with hydrogen chloride or hydrochloric acid, etc. Now, what is the preparation for hydrogen chloride, or how will you prepare hydrogen chloride? You know, how will you prepare? It is prepared from, we have studied in sulfuric acid. Na2SO4 plus H2SO4 will give you what? NaHSO4 plus HCl, right? NaHSO4 first. An acidic salt is formed, and again this NaHSO4 plus NaCl sorry, Na2SO4. So NaHSO4. Sorry, once again, we will start from NaCl that we have studied, right? So NaCl plus H2SO4 will give you HCl plus NaHSO4. Correct? Now second is NaHSO4 plus NaCl will give you Na2SO4 plus HCl. See, two-step process are there. First is an acidic salt is formed, that is sodium bisulfate, and second is sodium sulfate plus hydrochloric acid. So this is how hydrogen chloride is prepared. You know that. That is from NaCl. NaCl plus this corresponds to the low volatility of sulfuric acid, which can form high volatile gases. Just remember that technique. So you can have these two reactions, you will get hydrogen chloride gas. Okay. So this is a simple preparation for hydrogen chloride. And that's all. Now comes the properties. Very, very easy. Yes, a small topic. Okay. Then when you talk about property, you know hydrogen chloride is a gas. Okay. It's a colorless functions when in gas. Then it can be easily liquefied. That is, hydrogen chloride is very well soluble in water. Very well soluble in water. Okay, very well soluble in water. Then it is a very, very good acid. That is HCl plus H2O. It is soluble in water to form what? It forms H3O positive plus chloride minus. And you see the dissociation constant is 10 raised to 7. See, a huge value for the dissociation constant, which means that this is a very, very powerful acid, strong acid, because 10 to the power 7, 10 followed by 6. So see how much the larger value for Ka, greater the value of Ka, greater will be the acidic strength. So that is why you call HCl as a very, very strong acid. Okay. Now again for the reaction HCl plus ammonia. Just a reaction, correct? Just a reaction. That is HCl plus ammonia will form what? NH4Cl. You have seen in this in the lab, isn't it? Then, sorry, HCl, NH3 plus HCl will give you ammonium chloride. This is a very simple equation with ammonia, hydrogen. Okay. Now one important equation for this is the HCl is used for, have you heard of aqua regia? Aqua regia. What is aqua regia? What is aqua regia? Aqua regia means that is 3:1 concentration, concentrated HCl and concentrated NO3 in the ratio 3:1. It is called as aqua regia. Do you remember that? What is the use of aqua regia? In order to dissolve the noble metals like gold, then platinum, etc., silver, etc. But that is in inert metals, like it is not react with any other metals. So in order to dissolve that metals or in order to react that metals, aqua regia is prepared. And aqua regia is nothing but 3 parts of concentrated HCl is to 1 part of concentrated nitric acid. So now we will see what is the reaction for this aqua regia, or how gold or platinum will react with aqua regia. For example, you have gold. See, gold plus aqua regia means HNO3 and HCl. So I will write NO3 minus plus Cl minus plus H plus. Correct. All the 3 are there. Okay. Now it will give you AuCl4 minus. See, a complex is formed. So the gold is dissolved in this, forming a complex, aurum complex. Okay. So in the same way, platinum also. Platinum plus NO3 minus plus Cl minus plus H plus. Both are there. Okay. Will give you PtCl6 2 minus. See, again a complex is formed, which shows that gold, platinum, silver, that is the noble metals, can be dissolved in aqua regia, where the one of the aqua regia is hydrogen chloride. So that is the use of hydrogen, or the reaction of hydrogen chloride with aqua reagent. Okay, but this is also important. Just a complex is formed. So you will have a detailed discussion on complex and coordination chemistry. Then you will come more about it. So just you study this as a complex, that is 1 minus for gold, and platinum it is 2 minus. Okay, and here the byproducts are NO plus H2O, nitric oxide. The same byproduct, NO plus H2O. And so this is okay. Just reaction. So just you have to do your homework. I can just simply say the reaction as this and this will give this. Now it is your responsibility then how you get into it and take away with that. Okay, so do your homework very thoroughly, all these reactions. Okay. And now the last reaction in this is, in the case of HCl is, the HCl can decompose the salt of weaker acids. What do you mean by salt of weaker acid? For example, if you have a weak acid, carbonic acid, the salt of carbonic acid is Na2CO3. Correct. The salt of a weaker acid. That means it can decompose. The HCl has an ability to decompose the salt of a weaker acid into NaCl plus water plus carbon dioxide. Just decomposition reaction. HCl is able to decompose the salt of, listen, the salt of weaker acid. Okay. Now, another example for a weaker acid is NaHCO3. Instead of sodium carbonate, sodium bicarbonate. Sodium bicarbonate plus HCl will again give you NaCl plus water plus carbon dioxide. The same reaction. See? Na2CO3, only balancing will differ. Na2CO3 plus HCl giving NaCl plus H2O plus carbon dioxide. Again NaHCO3 plus HCl giving NaCl plus H2O plus. Do you remember what is this reaction? Any idea? Listen, you have studied a generic equation in 10th standard in metals and non-metals. Any carbonate or bicarbonate on reaction with an acid will give you salt plus carbon dioxide plus water. That was the generic equation you studied. Now you are keeping a little detail of the HCl property, which means that the property of an HCl is to decompose the salt of a weaker acid. In that way you are studying. See the difference how we are studying in higher classes. That is, decomposition can take place by HCl. That is here. The same reaction happening. Okay, so that is how you take it in higher classes, the reactions. So HCl is used for the decomposition of the salt of weaker acids. So Na2CO3 or NaHCO3, or one more thing I can say Na2SO4. Okay, plus HCl will give you Na2SO4 will give you NaCl plus H2O plus, instead of carbon dioxide you will get sulfur dioxide. So these are the reactions of hydrogen chloride and chlorine. So hope you understood these reactions. I know it may be a little bit of difficult when all these reactions coming in one module and taking it further. So just you want to make it slowly. You just go slowly. You take one by one equation and note it down and try how to get into that equation and how you can compile the equation and reproduce that. That is your part. So make use of that. Next we will study about some oxo acids of chlorine. Some oxo acids of chlorine. Okay, so that's only very simple. Just only structure you have to study. You don't have to study anything else. Only in your portions it is said that the 4 oxo acid structure we have to study. Oxo acid means oxygen containing. Okay, so oxo acids, only the 4 structure of oxo acids you have to study. Okay, the first one is, it's also very simple. The first one is HOCl. HOCl, hypochlorous acid. It is simple. See, you write like what you are writing, you write like that. HOCl. See, simple. HOCl. Now the second is HCl, or you can, sorry, HClO. Chlorine will be here and oxygen will be here. Okay, it is HClO. Okay, HClO, oxygen is more reactive, no? So it must be, no, it is HOCl. See, oxygen is high reactive, chlorine, then write HClO, but we will say HOCl. Okay, HOCl is, you just write like that. How you wrote? Like that, HOCl. Okay, next is HClO2. Next is HClO2. How you will write? You know HOCl, correct? This is HOCl. Now our parent compound is HOCl, first one. Now there is two oxygen. One oxygen is here. Now you put only two. Second oxygen is with double bond O. Correct. Now next is HClO3. What is it? HClO3. How will you go for it? HClO3, that is HOCl. There is two double bond O. See? HClO3. And the last is HClO4. Now how will you go for HClO4? You can have three double bond here. Okay, and HOCl. Or if I want to write like this, HOCl, I can write three double bond. Can you clear? Is it clear for you? That's why I put it here. That is HOCl. You can have HOCl, then three oxygen with double bonds. So this is the four structure of oxo acids of chlorine. So please study this structure. I have already told you that. In sulfuric acid also we have studied four structure. So any structure, one structure is definitely a short question for board exam. Okay. So simply HOCl, you draw like this. HClO2 means HOCl is the parent, then one O with double bond. HClO3, two O with two double bonds, and three O with three double bonds. That's all. Just simple. Okay. So that's it. The next section we will see the next topic. So till then, thank you.